You're listening to the Life with Old Dogs podcast, and I'm your host, Dawn Mimnaugh, primary caretaker of all of our wonderful senior German Shepherds right here at Woody's Place Senior German Shepherd Sanctuary. Hey there, folks. Welcome back to the second season of the Life with Old Dogs podcast. First season was about the origins of Woody's Place, the why and how Woody's Place got started. If you want to listen to it, go back and check it out. It's only like about 3 episodes. But this season is about sanctuary life. So we are going to be diving deep into how the dogs come to Woody's Place, how we choose the dogs that come into Woody's Place, how we integrate the dogs into Woody's Place, day-to-day operations of Woody's Place. And we are also having a guest speaker on, I'm not sure if it's the next episode or the episode after that, but it's our friend Deanna from Animal Sanctuary in Philadelphia, Tennessee. And she will be talking about sanctuary life down there in Tennessee. So we're super excited about that. But today we are starting the first episode of season 2 with a question actually, that I get, oh my gosh, I've been asked this so many times over the years. It's the number one question that I get asked, and that is, how do you get all the dogs to get along? Which, it really makes me laugh because, I know people see these dogs on social media and they think, oh my gosh, they get along. It's like, it's just so wonderful. It's utopia. And there are definitely instances when we're breaking up fights and, it's a big old hot train wreck. But for the most, we do really, really well in getting the dogs to get along. So I just did a blog post, just posted it just a few minutes ago, actually. And that is called How We Determine Which Dog Will Become a Sanctuary Resident. So go ahead and check that out. But this podcast is basically going to cover that topic too. So how we choose a dog, let me just back up a second here. In order to ensure success for all the dogs to get along, because we are a cage-free environment, they have to get along. Okay, they have to. We don't do crate and rotate. We don't do this one goes behind the gate and he can't be out because this one's out or anything like that. It's my home. The sanctuary is my home. My husband and I are fortunate enough to have, a pretty good size home, which we've worked our butts off for, and some acreage here in the beautiful Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. So it's a good setup for the sanctuary. We don't have there's no ordinances or zoning issues or anything like that says we can't have the sanctuary here. We're in a rural agricultural area. We have chickens, we have goats, we've had pigs. There's nobody's coming to my door and saying you can't have, Woody's Place Senior German Shepherd Sanctuary, because it's just not a factor here. So we're set up right there, right off the bat, to have the sanctuary here. But it is a cage-free environment because it's my home. So in order to ensure success for Woody's Place, we have to be picky and choosy about what senior German Shepherds we bring into the sanctuary, or else it's not going to work. And I know that may sound cold, but the bottom line is, when you go to adopt a dog or a cat or whatever you're adopting, it has to be a good fit for your family or it's not going to be successful. It's the same thing here at Woody's Place. We are a true sanctuary. We're a rescue because we do rescue dogs, but we are a true sanctuary in the sense that when these dogs come here, they are remaining here for the rest of their lives. Okay. Our catchphrase is, we are that place in the country where old dogs come to retire. We came up with that catchphrase because, time and time again, we heard, so you're like a nursing home or a retirement home for old German shepherds. And yeah, it's like, yep, that's exactly what we are. So these dogs have to get along. And in order to ensure that they get along, right off the bat, they have to meet certain criteria to be a good fit for our program. And the first one, it's paramount. Actually, it's the biggest one of all. They have to be human and dog friendly. There's no question about it. We can deal with, okay, they're not cat friendly. That's fine. We have cats here at the sanctuary. Anyone who knows us knows there's cats roaming around outside, and we have cats inside the house here, but they are not in the same part of the living space as the dogs. In fact, the dogs don't even see the cats that live inside with us. And again, nobody's stuck in a room or crated or anything like that. It's just a big enough house that we can have, a separation between the dogs and the cats. So we can have senior German shepherds come in who aren't cat friendly because they're not ever going to see the cats, but they have to be dog friendly because, again, we're, a communal environment here and they have to get along. And human friendly, we've had issues in the past where we've had some dogs that weren't quite thrilled with men or kids or whatever. And, my husband lives here. My oldest son lives here. I have grandkids. They come here to visit all the time. So the dogs that come in here have to get along with all humans and all other dogs. Now, that's not to say that there aren't times that, my 3-year-old grandson might not be here, and he's rambunctious. I love Wyatt, but he is rambunctious. And, we have a dog who might have mobility issues, and he can't get up and move around that well. Like Jensen is a good for instance of that. So I am not going to have Jensen in the same area as Wyatt when Wyatt is visiting. He's only here for a few hours and he's visiting. I am going to make sure Jensen is. Maybe I'll put him in my bedroom, or maybe I'll put him in my Florida room behind the gate and it's usually in the Florida room because we have a door to a deck he can walk in and out of, and we have the door to the dog yard he can walk in and out of. And the Florida room's nice. It's got lots of windows. It's bright. It's big. And he's comfortable out there. So I might put Jensen out there while Wyatt is here because Jensen is totally human friendly, but he's an old boy and his, back end hurts and he can't get up. So if Wyatt is here and Wyatt's buzzing around all over the place like little 3-year-old boys do, that might make Jensen nervous. And what if Wyatt falls on Jensen? Well, Jensen could potentially bite Wyatt. So I don't want to set anybody up to be hurt, and I don't want to set any of our residents up for failure. So I'm very, very diligent about knowing who's here and what dogs that might pose a problem for. And if there is going to be some sort of an issue like that, I will take that dog and put them in a different area of the house to ensure their own safety. But that's an exception. The bottom line is the dog must be human and dog friendly so that, if volunteers are coming in or, UPS guy comes to the door or whatever, we're not going to have any issues. Dog friendly is a little, that's pretty cut and dry too, but with shades of gray. We've had dog fights. We've had lots of dog fights over the years. Typically they happen when a new dog comes in because they're scared and a little overwhelmed. We've had, I've often referred to Heidi. Oh my God. Heidi was, she came in when Woody was official. I don't know if she was technically the first Woody's Place dog official Woody's Place dog, or if she was the second official Woody's Place dog. When I say official, that's after we became a 501c3. We had dogs before that came in. But Heidi came from Griffin Pond Animal Shelter in Lackawanna County. It's one of the surrounding counties that we try to help, with if they have senior German Shepherds in need. But she came in and they said she was 12 years old, and she wasn't. She was probably like around 8 or whatever, but a senior nonetheless. And Heidi she was a shepherd. She was mostly shepherd, but she had husky in her as well. So as many of you know, huskies don't age the same way as other dogs. They're pretty energetic and have a lot of stamina, even in their later years when most other dogs like German Shepherds are slowing down. So Heidi had a lot of energy. I mean, quite frankly, she annoyed the bejesus out of me. We had her for 5 years. So anyway, Heidi came in and, over the course of 5 years, the whole time she was with us, she fought with every single Woody's Place dog that walked through the door. She even fought with my own personal German Shepherd, who just totally put her in her place, and I allowed it. But yeah, and it got to the point where one of our senior German Shepherds, his name was Mac, and he was a huge, he looked like Jensen. He was big, he was fluffy, and he had degenerative myelopathy, and he was immobile. And Heidi used to run circles around him, literally run circles around him. And one time he grabbed her. He grabbed like her back end as she went by. He bit her. He got annoyed and he bit her, and he tore like a good size hole in her. It was about the size of a quarter that had to be stitched up. And when he bit her, she ran over to me. I was hanging out laundry, and she ran over to me, yiping and crying. And I was just annoyed with her because she wouldn't listen. She just did her own thing and was just a pest to everyone. And I remember turning around and saying to her, "You know what, Heidi? Is it you that's wrong or the rest of the world?" Because, the other dogs all got along, but not her. She fought with everybody. So there are times when there is going to be a tiff or a dog fight here at the sanctuary. Nowadays, it's usually over a bed, a coveted bed, or a ball or something like that. It's typically between Atticus and Prince, but I can deal with that. It's a tiff. It's not like a full-on dog fight. So dogs have to be dog friendly when they come in. If there's a tiff when they get here, that's, par for the course. We deal with it. But I'm talking about, no dogs that come in here and just don't like other dogs. And it's like a full-on fight right off the bat. That's not going to work. So human friendly and dog friendly. Number one, super, super paramount. All right, let's see. Just looking at my notes here. Okay, so the next part of our secret sauce to putting us on the road to success for dogs getting along when they get here to the sanctuary is they have to be 8 years old or older. We are a senior German Shepherd sanctuary, and senior to us is 8 years old. So when we started Woody's Place, my husband and I went to Carbondale Veterinary Hospital after Woody passed away, and I told Dr. Henry, who's no longer working there, he's retired, and I said, I wanted to start the senior German Shepherd sanctuary. I want to help other dogs in need like Woody. And his one and only question, I wanted to know if he would help us out financially. And his one and only question to me was, what do you consider a senior German Shepherd? Like what age? And I said, well, I consider 8 years old to be a senior German Shepherd. And he said, so do I. And then he told me he was willing to help us out financially and told me what. So 8 years old to us is senior German Shepherd. Now, we know that there are some 6 and 7-year-old German Shepherds who have slowed down and they're not quite as vibrant as they used to be. And maybe some folks consider 6 and 7-year-old a senior. But for us, it's 8. The magic number for us is 8. And, we're just not splitting hairs over it because unfortunately we've had people try to push us to take a 6 and 7-year-old German Shepherd, and we're not. We have to draw the line somewhere. It's kind of like having a breed specific rescue, and then other people try to get you to take mixes or something that's not even that breed, and they want you to take it just because it's a dog in need. And I totally get that. I do. I mean, I totally try to help other dogs in need. I don't even care if it's a pit bull or a little chihuahua or whatever. I mean, if I see a dog or it's presented to me and I know it needs help, I try to help it. A cat, I mean, anyone who knows me knows I've picked up chickens off the street that I don't even know and, took care of them. Cats at the feed mill, kittens, I've brought them back and found them home. So I try to help. But the bottom line is, when it comes to Woody's Place is a senior German Shepherd sanctuary. It is a business. People might be surprised to digest that fact. Woody's Place is a business. It's a nonprofit, but it's a business nonetheless. And we have a mission and we have rules, bylaws, and stuff like that, and we have to stick to them. So our age for senior German Shepherd was 8, and that's it. It's 8 years old. Again, not splitting hairs over it. Geriatric being 10, so we take 8 years and older. So anyway, moving forward. All right. Now, all that being said about splitting hairs and 8 years old and all that stuff, another part of the success for how we get dogs to get along when they come into the sanctuary is their energy level. Now, there's plenty of senior German Shepherds out there that are 8 years old that don't act like they're 8 years old. Again, just like I said about the 6 or 7-year-old who may have slowed down and isn't quite as vibrant, there are plenty of 8-year-old German Shepherds out there that are still quite vibrant, running around, doing German Shepherd things, and that's wonderful. But that's not necessarily going to be a great fit for us here at the sanctuary. I mean, we have dogs here that, for the most, are truly looking for a place to just rest. They're a slower pace here. They're relatively calm and reserved. That's a completely different story. If they're riled up by the chickens and goats, then all of a sudden they're turning on the juice, and you got Champ and Prince and Atticus running up and down the fence line, bumping into each other, getting all cranky because they're bumping into each other because they're all worked up over the chickens and the goats. But that doesn't happen a whole lot, but it does from time to time. But I'm talking about, a German Shepherd, like, for instance, again, Heidi, who did have husky mix in her, and she had this crazy energy level till the day she died. So we try not to take senior German Shepherds with a high energy level, to a certain degree. What we try to do with a dog like that is we try to find an approved adopter or another rescue to take that dog, so that they're not in threat of losing their lives because they're at a shelter that's overcrowded. We try to advocate and network for that dog to find a better placement for that dog. So, not only do we take dogs in and provide sanctuary for them, we also really do a lot of legwork behind the scenes, advocating for other dogs in need that we don't necessarily want to come here to the sanctuary again, because it won't be a great fit. But everybody's full. everybody's always full and money's always tight. There's just not enough to go around for all these, dogs in need. So there have been times we have taken senior German Shepherds with high energy and just try to, give him the appropriate amount of or her in this case, the appropriate amount of exercise that we can, so that she doesn't become a nuisance to the other residents. But like I said in the blog post, it's really plain and simple. If we took a high energy German Shepherd, even if it was a senior German Shepherd, it would be like having a rambunctious toddler living in a nursing home. Okay. And I mean, you can just picture that, right? It's not going to work. It's not going to fly. All the other residents are going to be irritated. And that's exactly what we've experienced here at Woody's Place with high energy senior German Shepherds. So we try to steer clear of bringing in a dog like that. All right. So we have must be human and dog friendly, must be 8 years and older, must be living on the slower side of life. So far, there are the three factors that we use to determine who's going to become a resident here at Woody's Place. Number 4 is we can't have any uber possessive dogs. Again, even senior German Shepherds, even geriatric German Shepherds. I've even seen geriatric German Shepherds be super possessive of their bed, their toy, a treat, a person, and that can cause issues. So now again, that's with shades of gray as well. We have a little bit of possession issues here at the sanctuary right now. It's primarily between Prince and Atticus. They love these, I guess they're like 3 or 4 inch balls, and they're very colorful, and they've got like nubs all over them, and of course they squeak, and oh my goodness, we have so many of those balls. But they will still get into a tiff over one in the dog yard, even though there might be 10 laying around the dog yard. So we have issues about possession, but it's not a big deal. What I'm talking about is a dog who is uber possessive about a treat, a toy, food, a bed, a person, or something like that, where it really is a problem, and they just want to rip another dog's face off because they think whatever is theirs, which is usually everything. And I've seen that. I have seen that with a dog who really didn't have anything that I know of before he came here. He pretty much was just stuck outside in a yard, his whole life. And then when he finally got what I consider a taste of the good life, he wanted it all, and it became an issue. So number 4 is we avoid taking uber possessive dogs. Again, it's a communal environment, and to go along, they have to get along, so they can't think that everything is theirs and, nobody else gets anything. Okay. The last part of our formula for determining who becomes a resident of Woody's Place. And this, like I said, this formula that we use, it really does put us on the road for success. So, we try to really stick with this formula here. The last part is we really try our best to take senior German Shepherds in need locally. That's really like paramount for us. Twofold. Number 1, we want to help locally. Resources are really slim here because we live in a rural area, so resources are slim, and it's important to help. Think global, act local, and we truly believe that, and that's what we try to do. The second reason we try to do local first is because we get to lay hands on the dog, lay hands and eyes on the dog, and evaluate him for ourselves instead of taking someone else's word that the dog's going to be a good fit for us. So, so we can see the dog, we can feel the dog, we can check the dog out, we can see the dog's living environment, and really put pieces of the puzzle together for ourselves to know, okay, this is either going to work or this is not going to work. So we definitely try to pull locally first. If there's no dogs available first and we have the space, or if we have the space and there's a local dog but he's not going to be a good fit, then we branch out to our surrounding counties. Most of our dogs, about 80% so far, have come from Philadelphia County and the suburbs of Philadelphia County, which is about 2 hours away from us. I just shake my head at how many senior German Shepherds end up homeless in that area. Like, what is the deal? I just don't know. I mean, I know there's a lot of dogs in that area, a lot of pit bulls in that area. I just don't know why there's so many senior German Shepherds that end up as strays or tied to a chain in the backyard or something like that. It's mind-boggling to me. I mean, it's just mind-boggling, but I won't get up on that soapbox. So, so we take from the surrounding counties. Outside of that, we do take from northern Jersey and sometimes southern Jersey, and New York. So we are less than an hour from the border of New York and northern Jersey. They all come together in a tri-state area. So of course we're going to help those areas as well, because they're pretty much our neighbors, even though we're in a different state. So we try to help those areas out as well. Now, all of that being said, help locally, semi-locally, different states, but they're still local as well. If there's no senior German Shepherd that needs help and we have space, or again, if there is, but it's not a good fit for our program, we will take dogs from other states. And we have, as far as California. I used Brandy as a, for instance, in the blog post. Brandy came from Lakeland, Florida, SPCA. We were super top heavy in the male department, not a female in sight, and we still are. Oh my gosh, we're always heavy in the male in male German Shepherds and not really females, but can't imagine why. Maybe because people breed the females. Maybe that's the case. I don't know, but yeah, I'll just keep my mouth shut about that. But anyway, so yeah, little Brandy was down in Lakeland, Florida, SPCA, and they reached out to us and they told us all about her, and they sent her video footage, and they showed us with her with other dogs. And she was so human friendly that she hung out in the office of the SPCA quite a bit. I mean, Brandy was a hit down there. But she needed somewhere to go. And, of course, she was an older girl. She's 13 now, and she's been with us for 3 years. So we felt, based on the evidence that they showed us and the fact that she had been there for a little while, that she would be a good fit for us. And so we arranged transport to get her up here to us. And she like right from the word go, she was exactly as they described her to be. And she's been a favorite here at the sanctuary ever since. So we do help other areas, but we always try to focus on local first. Okay, so that is it. That's it, folks. Again, just to recap, how we determine which dogs are going to become sanctuary residents, the formula we use to put us on the path for success: human and dog friendly, must be at least 8 years and older, living on the slower side of life, no real high energy dogs, can't be uber possessive of treats, toys, beds, people, etc., and try to take locally first so we can help local and assess for ourselves whether the dog is going to be a good fit for our program, right? So all of that together, there's a whole lot more after that for how we get dogs to get along with each other. And we are going to discuss that. It's either next episode or the one after that. Again, I'm not sure which one Deanna's on. But the next episode or the one after that is the one we're going to talk about how we integrate dogs into like the general population. Because when they first come in, I'll just give you this little tidbit now. When they first come in, they are not with the other dogs right away. Okay. There's a process to that. And we'll talk about that in either the next episode or the episode after that. So, all right, folks, that is it. It's been about 30 minutes. Check back in next week. I'm not sure if it's Thursday or Friday the podcast will be up, but I will certainly let you know what it is. And until then, be well.